first time, running on the red lights. The middle finger was a peace sign, yeah. We were sipping on emotion, smoking and inhaling every moment. It was reckless and we owned it, yeah, yeah. We were high and we were sober, we were on and we were over. We were young and now I'm older, but I do it all again. Getting drunk on a train track, way back when we tried our first cigarettes. Oh, $10 was a fat stack. I do it all again. Oh, bought my jacket and a snapback. Your dad's black Honda was a Maybach. Oh, 3 stacks on the playback. I do it all again. Oh. We were lovers on a wild ride, speeding for the finish line, coming to the end of our time, yeah. Started off as a wildfire, burning down the bridges to our empire. Our love was something they could admire, yeah, yeah. We were high and we were sober, we were on and we were over. We were young and now I'm older, but I do it all again. Getting drunk on the train track, way back when we tried our first cigarettes. Oh, $10 was a fat stack. I do it all again. Oh, bought my jacket and a snapback. Your dad's black Honda was a Maybach. Oh, 3 stacks on the playback. I do it all again. Oh.
She fell in love with an Englishman. Kissed her on the neck and then I took her by the hands. And baby, I just wanna dance. I met her on Grafton Street, right outside of the bar. She shared a cigarette with me while her brother played the guitar. She asked me, what does it mean? The Gaelic ink on your arm. Said it was one of my friend's songs. Do you want to drink on? She took Jamie as a chaser, Jack for the fun. She got Arthur on the table with Johnny riding a shotgun. Chatted some more, one more drink at the bar. Then put Van on the jukebox, got up to dance. You know she played her fiddle in an Irish band, but she fell in love with an Englishman. Kissed her on the neck and then I took her by the hands. And baby, I just wanna dance with my pretty little Galway girl. You're my pretty little Galway girl. Hey. You know she beat me at darts and then she beat me at pool, and then she kissed me like there was nobody else in the room. As last orders were called was when she stood on the stool, after dancing to Kaylee singing to trad tunes. I never heard Carrick Fergus ever sung so sweet. A cappella in the bar using her feet for a beat. Oh, I could have that voice playing on repeat for a week. And in this packed out room where she was singing to me. You know she played her fiddle in an Irish band, but she fell in love with an Englishman. Kissed her on the neck and then I took her by the hands. And baby, I just wanna dance, my pretty little Galway girl. My Galway girl. My Galway girl. My Galway girl. Well, now we've all said our welcome and it's closing time. I was holding her hand was holding mine. Our coats both smell of smoke, whiskey and wine, as we fill up her lungs with the cold air of the night. I walked her home, then she took me inside to finish some Doritos and another bottle of wine. I swear I'm gonna put you in a song that I write about a Galway girl and a perfect night. She played the fiddle in an Irish band, but she fell in love with an Englishman. Kissed her on the neck and then I took her by the hands. And baby, I just wanna dance, my pretty little Galway girl. My Galway girl.
I've been reading books of old, the legends and the myths, Achilles and his gold, Hercules and his gifts, and Spider-Man's control, and Batman with his fist. And clearly I don't see myself upon that list. But she said, where'd you wanna go? How much you wanna risk? I'm not looking for somebody with some superhuman gifts, some superhero, some fairy tale bliss. Just something I can turn to, somebody I can kiss. I want something just like this. Do-do-do, do-do-do, do-do-do. Oh, I want something just like this. Do-do-do, do-do-do. Oh, I want something just like this. I want something just like this. I've been reading books of old, the legends and the myths, the testaments they told, the moon and its eclipse, and Superman unrolls the suit before he lived. But I'm not the kind of person that it fits. She said, where'd you wanna go? How much you wanna risk? I'm not looking for somebody with some superhuman gifts, some superhero, some fairy tale bliss. Just something I can turn to, somebody I can miss. I want something just like this. I want something just like this. Oh, I want something just like this. Oh, I want something just like this. Where'd you wanna go? How much you wanna risk? I'm not looking for somebody with some superhuman gifts, some superhero, some fairy tale bliss. Just something I can turn to, somebody I can kiss. I want something just like this. Oh, I want something just like this. Oh, I want something just like this.
Today, they will face the toughest opponents in the world. Tougher than any world champion. Stronger than any gold medalist. Opponents that have been crushing spirits for generations. But in this park, on this field, in this gym, these children will defeat discrimination, violence, and inequality. Every time sport defeats disadvantage, everyone wins.
But now at Murrayfield, one man takes centre stage.
Stomp your feet, everybody. Sing and cheer, let Scotland hear. We're doing it, we're darling.
His diagnosis with motor neuron disease has moved so many people, so to him that his thoughts have been with his family and friends, and we're trying to raise money towards a cure that might help others in the future.
Here, we're doing it, we're darling.
Hi, I'm I'm Jason Leonard, founder and chairman of the Atlas Foundation, a charity set up to help some of the world's poorest children work towards a better future through rugby communities and initiatives. It is a launchpad for good and provides a platform that funds international projects that have a real impact on the daily lives of deprived young people. Donate today to provide every child with an equal opportunity to thrive. Visit our website to see how you can help us make a difference.
Without this support, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing.
I often think to myself, God forbid where I could have been today.
If that all stopped, a lot of people would be absolutely lost.
I've got a little girl. Only God knows how this place has changed me. I am able to be a dad for her now. Hand on my heart, this place changed my life.
And I won't let you down.
We are
Rugby.
We need the wooden spoon to help us to build our school and our playground to make it better so then young people have fun.
Staying in support, and there is the greatness, and we can now say greatness. The fourth try today for Andy Irvine.
It's obviously a massive thing to play for your country, but the Lions is that one step above that. Enemies, so to speak, become your best buddies. You form friendships for life. You meet so many different players from different countries, but you become great pals and you bond for life. Once you're in the Lions Club, you're in it until your dying days. My first tour was in 1974 to South Africa. Obviously, as a schoolboy and even just after leaving school, the Lions tours were always the highlight. I can remember watching them on television in black and white in the 60s. I had just left school when the 71 tour took place in New Zealand. And obviously that was a very historic tour because the Lions to win in New Zealand was really big time. I had no idea that 3 years later I would actually be touring myself with the Lions in South Africa. I was up in a place called Montrose, up in the north of Scotland, doing a survey on a property in the high street up there. And driving back down, I think it was about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I had the radio on in my car and I heard it on the radio that I'd been selected. Now, in fairness, there was a letter in the post, but I'd left early that morning, found out that I was going on the radio. I have to say, it was a fantastic tour. You know, we came home undefeated, an incredibly physical tour. Willie John McBride, the captain, he was on his 5th tour. You know, he basically said that the one thing you've got to do in South Africa is you've got to be physical. You've got to man up, especially in the forwards. But in fairness, Willie John was right because, you know, the South Africans, possibly as skillful as we were, perhaps not as quick, but the one thing that they did have was physicality. What they tried to do was intimidate you, and they tried to out-physical you. And in the end, we actually gave the South Africans a bit of a hammering up front. You know, the Lions pack were just incredible. We certainly had some great backs, JPR Williams at fullback, JJ Williams, he was in flying form on the hard grounds in South Africa. Gareth Edwards was probably the man of the tour. I always knew that I was going to go out as the second fullback with no real hope of making the test side because JPR Williams was in some fantastic form. As the tour progressed, there was a chance that I might have made it on the wing, and I did in the 3rd and 4th tests. I was also used quite a lot for goal kicking in those days because although Phil Bennett was the main kicker, my range was longer than Phil. And in South Africa, you know, we quite often attempted goals from our own half because the ball would fly so much further. But it was a marvellous occasion. And it was great to win the series. At that point, it was 3-0, but we didn't just sneak it. You know, we absolutely hammered them. And in fairness to the South Africans, They were pretty generous in their praise because it had come as a hell of a shock to them to lose the tour. But they accepted, and in fairness to South Africa media and press, they were very much on the Lions' side. I think they just appreciated great rugby. It was slightly disappointing that we didn't win the final match because, the record was 21 wins and 1 draw. A few of us thought, well, perhaps it's a good thing that we didn't win because it does leave future Lions tours the opportunity to go completely, with winning every match. Well, 77 was another huge milestone for me personally because, to tour New Zealand really is the ultimate to play against the All Blacks. We lost the series 3-1. We were very, very unfortunate to lose the final test. We were literally beaten by the bounce of a ball. The other thing I remember about New Zealand was that we were unfortunate with the weather. The New Zealand winters are never great. It's not cold at all, but it's often very, very wet. And that was a particularly wet tour. Now, it didn't really suit our play because we still had a lot of pace in the backs. We still had the likes of J.G. Williams and Elgin Rees and Ian McGeechan, Phil Bennett. But in the soft grounds and muddy grounds, it's very, very difficult to evade tackles, and it becomes much more a power game. The Lions really were renowned for their back play and their elusiveness, but you couldn't do that in New Zealand. While it was still an enjoyable tour for me, I still thoroughly enjoyed it. It didn't quite reach the same heights as South Africa in 74. 1980, it was a rather strange tour for me. I'd pulled my hamstring in the Hong Kong Sevens a month before the tour, and I thought I had it repaired, and we all met down in London, just about to board the plane. But because I'd pulled my hamstring, I had a very late fitness test, literally about 3 hours before boarding the plane. The doctor wasn't particularly happy with the progress I'd made, so I was sent home. So I flew down from Edinburgh to meet the players in the morning and flew back that night. We lost the first test. About half an hour after the final whistle, I got a call from Sid Miller to say, look, we've got a bit of a problem here. Can you get in a plane tomorrow and get out here? I went out the following day and then played in the final 3 tests. I really struggled a little bit with my hamstring. It wasn't quite right. I would play on a Saturday, but then couldn't train for the next 4 or 5 days. From a personal point of view, it was a disappointing tour. Got back involved with Lions tours again in 2009. I was actually chairman of the Lions in 2009 when they went to South Africa. And then in 2013 to Australia, I was actually manager of the tour. And then I also went again in 2017 as a board member of the Lions. So I did 3 tours as a player, and then I did 3 tours to South Africa, Australia and New Zealand as an official. But there was still the same camaraderie and fellowship with the players, and it still meant so much to the players. When I played in 74, there was about 150 fans followed the Lions. By 2009, there was 30,000 followed. And that last tour that I was at in New Zealand, it was almost like a whole match when you went to the tests. One complete side of the stadium was covered in red scarves and red bonnets. And I mean, it's quite amazing, really.
First time in a generation, the Lions are playing on home soil. If you're lucky enough to be one of the people coming to see the game in person, there are a few guidelines for you to follow to make sure you and everyone else can make the most of the day. Here goes. The use of lateral flow tests in the few days prior to the match is recommended, and they're readily available to order from the government website. Just type "free lateral flow test" into your favourite search engine. Of course, if you test positive, feel the symptoms, or have had any contact with anyone that either has the virus or is quarantining after return from foreign travel, then you must not attend the event. That's about taking one for the team. Remember, you can still watch from home. When you're getting ready to come to the game, remind yourself that no bags are allowed in the stadium, so only bring what you can comfortably carry on your person. The most important thing to bring is your ticket. Make sure you either print it at home or have it on your mobile phone. Whilst you're checking your ticket, make sure you note the time detailed on it. COVID restrictions mean it will take a little longer than usual to get everyone seated, so please ensure you turn up at the right time. Once you get to the stadium, there are a few changes you need to be aware of. First up, unless you have a medical or other valid exemption, 3-layer reusable or medical grade disposable face masks must be worn at all times within the grounds and the stadium. Seating will be a little different than what you're used to. We all know how great it is to enjoy a game together, but it's critical that you sit in the right seat. So, even if you're travelling with a group, although we'll sit you in the same block, social distancing guidelines apply, so everyone will be sat as singles. That's likely to mean 3 seats either side of you. Just enjoy the rare chance to stretch out. After the final whistle, it's really important that you stay in your seats. We're all responsible for each other, and we want to ensure you and everyone around you is as safe as possible. We promise we'll make it as smooth as we can. The steward will let you know when it's possible to depart. As you leave, make sure that you exit from the aisle nearest to you. And when you're on the move, remember to always stay 2 meters apart from the nearest person. If in doubt, stretch your arm out. If you're halfway towards touching the person in front of you, you need to drop back a little. Thank you. That's it. All you have to do now is enjoy the game. And of course, roar for the Lions.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Murrayfield. Welcome to the Vodafone Lions 1888 Cup. What a special day we've got. Great to see you back here in this stadium as the British and Irish Lions get warmed up for that big tour to South Africa. The first time they've been playing on British soil in 16 years. And what a stadium it is to play at. Great to see all of you back with us in Murrayfield. It is going to be a sensational day, a memorable day, and there is so much to watch. Kickoff is at 3 o'clock, but Reece, we got plenty for them before that, right?
Certainly have, Simon. We've got plenty of entertainment for you pre-match. We've got Mugen Taiko, the Japanese-Scottish drumming band. Then we've got the Police Scotland Fife Pipe Band. They've got some drummers as well, I've got to say that. So that's some entertainment for you there. We've got some former Lions coming into studio with us. Andy Irvine is with me and going to have a long chat with him about his Lions experience, about being at Murrayfield today. Famous Grouse ambassadors. We all like a little bit of Famous Grouse. We've got Jim Hamilton, Shane Williams and Gavin Hastings. Simon Shaw is with us, Liam Mears is with us. You're going to have a chat with Jamie Heaslip. I've got to say, remember to adhere to all the COVID messages as well that you might come across on the screen. That's really important. But fans back watching rugby, and not any rugby, it's the British and Irish Lions. I cannot wait, Simon.
It is going to be a really, really special day, and an historic day as well. For all of you that may be a little bit younger than some of the more veteran viewers, shall we say, remember this, because this is special 2021, the British and Irish Lions getting set for this tour to South Africa. Now, first up though, as if you need reminding, here's how the Lions squad is shaping up.
There are days like this, many rugby players never have it, never experience it. It is special. Because today will determine what we are. It will say everything about us.
Remember the pledges you made. Remember how you depend on each other. You depend on each other at every phase. This is your Everest, boys. Very few ever get a chance in rugby terms to give for Everest.
And you can look at your teammate in the eye and say, I couldn't have given any more. Nobody can ask anything else.
What does it mean to be picked for the British and Irish Lions? What does it mean to you? It's the greatest honour I could ever receive as a rugby player. It's the pinnacle of my career.
You leave as an international, you come back as a Lion.
When you put this jersey on, it asks of you things that no other jersey can ever ask of you.
You're all here for a particular purpose. Your name wasn't just taken out of the hat. You're here because you're regarded as the best of the best.
The mantle you carry and the challenge that you have is to put a marker down in South Africa.
You shock yourself by taking yourself to another level. Because that's what being a Lion's about. It ain't about anything other than that. It ain't about taking part. It ain't about being here. It's about winning.
You are privileged. You are the chosen few. Many are considered, but few are chosen.
And it's down to us, no one else. Squeeze the arms again.
There are times today when you're going to have to reach into the very depths of your soul to get to that ball.
The Lions are special, the legends go with it.
Rugby player from Britain and Ireland, this is what dreams are made of.
That is the British and Irish Lions squad 2021 for South Africa, but it starts today at Murrayfield for the Vodafone Lions 1888 Cup. They face Japan, and we have fans back at rugby, back at Murrayfield. You can see from this aerial shot what a beautiful, glorious sight it is anyway, but with fans back at rugby, it's looking even better. Kickoff at 3 o'clock. And now it's our chance to welcome Japan to Murrayfield. Really looking forward to this because we've got a really special welcome. So please give a big shout out to drummers from Scotland. It's Mugan Taiko.
This is the great children.
Potential scoring opportunity for Anthony Watson. The Lions have it, and this might be an opportunity.
I never met a guy who makes me feel the way you do. You're all right. Whenever I'm asked to make my dreams real, I say that you do. You're out of sight. So quivery deep, quivery down. Look out, baby, 'cause here I come. And I'm bringing you a love that's true. So get ready.
This summer, you're not just connected to the Lions. With Vodafone, they're right here with you. Connected, united, unlimited.
Well, we've had Japan at Murrayfield. Now it's time to welcome the British and Irish Lions. And please also welcome the Police Scotland Fife Band.
I just remember we all sort of congregated in a hotel in London with no sort of pre-sessions at all, so we just showed up on a, say, I don't know, Wednesday evening or whatever, and we were flying out Thursday morning. And I knew back in 80, you know, you only, I played against Andy Irvine, or I played against Ollie Campbell, we played against Bill Beaumont, but we didn't really know each other. We knew the English club players better because we played club rugby against them. Yeah. But so there was a sort of apprehension in terms of, you know, am I good enough to be with these guys? Secondly, I suppose excitement really of you know, thought of playing with them as well, you know, and competing for your spot. Because whilst it's great to be picked for the you know, for the Lions, but then once you're on there, you want to play in a test team, because when you think about it, most of the guys going on the tour used to be #1 in their own country or own club. Suddenly now they're in an environment they're up against opposition, best from the other country. So it's again, it's a new experience.
You talk about the cultures and blending and all the rest of it, but you know when you look at somebody whether they're with you or not. And would you agree with that?
It was, yeah, it was something. I think the dynamic was great, wasn't it? And you know, the likes of Rory Underwood, who had such, you know, Ian Evans too. Like, they were flying machines. And then you had Jeremy Guscott, who literally came from nowhere, didn't he?
Yeah, and the power of yourself, and Gav.
And, you know, they were characters. Right. But I always remember going in '93, having been an '89 Lion, to then move on. And you're all gunning for that place, because, you know, it was Guscott who was going to be the shoe-in. And Guscott's sort of with the ball, and he just takes off. And none of us, like Will Carling, myself, and you know, the Scotty Gibbs, we couldn't get near him. And yet, look at the relationship they then developed with Gibbs in the '97 tour, and that's why Guscott, you know, was so immense on that '97 tour. That experience as well.
Going on a Lions tour is like putting 4 countries together. Like, first of all, Ireland and Scotland and Wales were all Celts, you know, and even into England, Cornwall, they're Celts, you know. So there's huge similarities between us. You know, it's not like we're different or hugely different. We speak the same language, we more or less do the same sort of things. But coming together as a side, I think it's fantastic.
I roomed with Richard Hibbard and obviously never spoken a word to him other than played against him, and we roomed together, and he's a good friend of mine now. We got on really well, good guy, completely the opposite of what I expected when you watch him play, of how he is actually off the field. But then something like Sean O'Brien was, you know, the leader of the sort of banter and the crack as such. He was hilarious. It was just a good mix, like everyone contributed, and then it was a funny dynamic at first, because you've not really seen a lot of these guys you play against with their hair down and seen them like relaxed and having a laugh. You always see them like in super serious like test match mode, and very rarely like actually have a laugh or any real interaction with them other than like maybe a beer after the game, or see them at the dinner or something. And so it was pretty cool to see everyone sort of in a relaxed social environment, and it was pretty good that everyone sort of mingled quite well.
There's only a finite amount of guys who've done this, you know, and honestly, when I was growing up and setting your goals on wanting to play for Ireland, playing for the Lions was never there. I never dreamt of playing for the Lions, because that was always where the gods were. That's where the absolute legends of the game. And then suddenly you find yourself, you're playing for your country, coming close to selection time, and you're getting mentioned in circles and things like that. And only then you allow yourself to think of it. And then eventually you get to go, but what's the first thing that happens? The competitive streak comes in. You have to get on that test side. You have to just get on that team. Because just sitting back and just being happy to just be a Lion, that's not enough. You want to play in the test side.
Well, that was some tour stories from some Lions, but I'm joined by a Lions great here, a Scottish great as well. Andy Irvine, welcome to Murrayfield. You know this place well, but you haven't seen the Lions play here before. What do you make of it all?
Well, firstly, I'm delighted that the tour's going ahead, because obviously there was huge doubts about it. But to play the first game in Murrayfield really is very special, and it'll probably be special for the Scottish lads involved in the tour.
When you were first selected, I've seen a little VT that you've done for us already. You didn't know, you'd left home before the post had arrived. So how exactly did you know that you were selected for the 1974 Lions to South Africa tour?
Well, I was actually, I was up in the north of Scotland. I was doing a property inspection, and on the way back home, I turned on the radio, and I heard that I'd been selected in the 3 o'clock news. Now, in fairness, when I did get home, there was a letter waiting for me to say that I'd been selected, but it was rather strange to hear on the radio that you were going to South Africa.
There are fans back at Murrayfield for this fantastic occasion here today. You know, how difficult and how different will it be in South Africa? Will that help the Lions in any way, that you won't have fans there? But I remember you said that 150 people watched you in 1974. Thousands of people would have travelled this year, so it would have been pretty even in Loftus versus Veldt there.
Well, in some ways, with no fans, it's going to be an advantage to the Lions, because obviously, if you're playing in front of 60 or 70,000, and a good proportion of them will be South Africans, you know, it can be quite an alien environment. Having said that, in recent tours, the Lions have been exceptionally fortunate in that 25,000 have travelled. But I think it'll be difficult for the players without, having said that, they're used to it now. Because the virus has been with us for over 12 months, the players have played in empty stadiums. But I think, on balance, it'll be a slight benefit for the Lions that it's not going to be an intimidating away stadium to play in. It'll be interesting to see what happens today, because although there's only 16,000, I think they'll make a hell of a noise today.
But what is it going to be like for the Lions in respect of not being able to go out into the townships, be able to maybe socialise? You've got to really be within that bubble in a hotel. You can't move as freely in South Africa. So mentally it's going to be tough as well as physically, as it always is against South Africa. You're absolutely right. It's going to be a very different tour. And what you will need is you'll need strong management. You'll need strong captaincy. Because I have to say, Lions tours are incredibly enjoyable. You love the buzz and the compassion and the, you know, the challenge of the matches, but you also get a chance to get out and about and see the countries, and they're fantastic countries in the Southern Hemisphere. South Africa is a really wonderful place to go, you know, tremendous beaches and safaris and that sort of thing. Normally that happens on a Lions tour. The players do get some relief. This is going to be very challenging for them. They're going to be locked inside their hotel. But having said that, Warren Gatland is a highly experienced coach. He knows not only the physical side, but the psychological side. So the Lions will be prepared for it. But I have to say, from the players' point of view, it's not going to be nearly as enjoyable as a normal tour. And it's a tough tour, because the tours are getting shorter and shorter. They're not going to get many lead-in games to the tests, and the lead-in games that they do have are going to be very challenging. You know, they're playing the top 4 provincial sides, so there's going to be no easy games. And even today, this is a pretty tough opener. You know, Japan did very, very well in the last World Cup, and even although they've not played for a year and a half, they're still going to be a great challenge for the Lions, so it's a super warm-up for them. Super warm-up. You didn't need a warm-up in 1977. Well, you'd had one in 1974. I believe we've got one of your tries here, Andy, if we can have a look at and roll that VT. Where are you here in this one?
Now the Lions can run it. Bennett getting through with one of his classic sidesteps, and another, Phil Bennett.
Helped by some Welshmen, I believe.
Andy Irvin in support. Fenwick. Irvin staying in support. And there is the greatness. And we can now say greatness. The 4th try today for Andy Irvin.
Andy, you're a bit out of breath there.
Yeah, I was a little bit tired after that one. That reminds me of Willie John's great stories. He used to say, yeah, it was always interesting playing with Andy Irvin. We just followed him out of interest because we didn't have a clue where he was going. And he said, in fact, I'm not even sure he had a clue where he was going himself.
Andy, it's been an absolute pleasure having you. I hope you enjoy. It's great to have the Lions playing on home soil, and it's great to see the Lions touring again. Andy Irvine, thank you very much. Okay, where are we going next? Well, we're going to South Africa to see who the Lions will face on tour.
The giants of the game, world champions, the best. Against the best, to be a lion in the land of lions. Defining moments of young lives.
It's Guscus drop! It's there! Rugby history has been made!
This is also to put the words of a revered elder, a great man, to the test.
Sport has the power to change the world. It has the power to inspire. It has the power to unite people that little else does.
United, but also the best against the best. The test to find the best. The full fury and the hush, the full picture. Showtime. And behind the scenes. This was once a place of secrets, never to be shared. Show this, and the myth would be broken.
This is your Everest, boys. To win for a lion is the ultimate.
Come on! Who's the very best? Who wants it the most?
There are times today when you're going to have to reach into the very depths of your soul.
But this is not a secret world. The myth is unbreakable because what is revealed is far, far beyond the reach of all but these chosen few. How hard is it? We shall show you. The full picture. From the moments of meditation to the full roar. From doubt to belief. From pain to ecstasy. And the other way round. This is a beautiful game, and it is a cruel game. Big game on the biggest stages. Elusive, not easily tracked down. Easy to see from afar, but hard to get close to. To feel their kindness, their respect, courage, honor, laughter. It is our pledge to bring you the game as it has never been seen before. It is what we do.
Never let up.
All the sights and sounds of South Africa and everything that tour brings. Let's hope that this group get to experience most of that. We know it's going to be different. One of the great things about today is the number of ex-Lions that are around. We've just had the wonderful Andy Irvine, a man no stranger to the Lions shirt, and who was out in South Africa in 2009 is Jamie Heaslip. And I had a chance to catch up with the former Irish number 8 earlier on. Well, I'm delighted to be joined by Jamie Heaslip, former British and Irish Lion. Jamie, before we talk about South Africa though, a staple diet of recent Lions tours has been our good friend Miles Harrison. He's only just come out of hospital, having had a colon cancer operation. He's going to be missed, right?
Miles, every time I think of the Lions, I fell in love in 1997, and I think of Miles Harrison's voice. It's a shame he's not here with us today, but I have no doubt that man is watching this game, and I wish him a speedy recovery.
Well, 2009, I was out in South Africa with you. It was a huge, immense tour. What are your memories of it, if there are any?
Oh, well, I mean, we were just talking off air the last time you saw me, and it was after the last test, so I was probably a little bit tired, let's say. But when I think of 2009, I think of re-establishing pride in the jersey. I think in 05, it hadn't gone according to plan, and I remember Sir Ian McGeechan talking a lot about, you know, hanging that jersey up on the peg when you're finished with it, and someone else picking up in 4 years, and how do you want them to pick that jersey up? These guys now have an opportunity to pick it up. I know these are different times and they're tough times, but it's even more important for them to re-establish pride in the jersey today. Take that opportunity and carry it forward.
Gilbert the Grouse is in the house. It is an identity thing, isn't it? And it's so strong and so important. And it starts for this group today against Japan.
Yeah, and Gats has talked a lot about the limited opportunities these guys are going to get. They're going to get, you know, potentially 2 starts to show what they're about. It's great. It's amazing to get on a Lions tour. It's another level to become a test line. Sure. And these guys have very limited opportunities to take that opportunity, and they have to take it because no one's going to give you that jersey. They're all friends and they're coming together and they want to establish that one goal. but make no mistake, everyone wants to be a Test Lion. There's only a certain amount of spots.
That said, it is going to be a different Lions tour. There's not as many games. It's going to be in a bubble.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very different experience.
It is, and even today, I flew into Scotland yesterday. I got in real early. I'm in the same hotel as the team, so I texted a couple of the boys, like, do you want to go for a coffee? Knowing, you know, how tough it has been on camp, and you need that release to get away from it. And they're like, dude, we can't leave the 2 floors of our hotel. And then I was with Gavin Hastings yesterday, who sits on the board for the Lions, and he was like, literally when they go to South Africa, they can't leave the hotel. So it's going to be tough for them, but I have no doubt these guys will come together, come up with all sorts of stupid games and things to keep themselves occupied. And if anything, they can use that to bring the group together even more so.
Well, it's going to be a fascinating matchup this afternoon that's going to start proceedings. Enjoy yourself on commentary. It'll be a new experience for you watching a Lions game as well. We look forward to it coming up shortly.
The fate to go.
This is the right shoulder.
Potential scoring opportunity for Anthony Watson.
This summer, you're not just connected to the Lions. With Vodafone, they're right here with you. Connected, united, unlimited.
A couple of guys, whether it be on the kick chase or whether it be from a ruck on the plug or whatever it may be, just losing 1 or 2 seconds. So far, I've had 6 guys come up to me to do a little bit of extra. Just 5 minutes, that's all. 6 guys come up to me. I'm not sure what you said. I said 6 guys. This is serious.
For the first time in a generation, the Lions are playing on home soil. If you're lucky enough to be one of the people coming to see the game in person, there are a few guidelines for you to follow to make sure you and everyone else can make the most of the day. Here goes. The use of lateral flow tests in the few days prior to the match is recommended, and they're readily available to order from the government website. Just type "free lateral flow test" into your favourite search engine. Of course, if you test positive, feel the symptoms, or have had any contact with anyone that either has the virus or is quarantining after return from foreign travel, then you must not attend the event. That's about taking one for the team. Remember, you can still watch from home. When you're getting ready to come to the game, remind yourself that no bags are allowed in the stadium, so only bring what you can comfortably carry on your person. The most important thing to bring is your ticket. Make sure you either print it at home or have it on your mobile phone. Whilst you're checking your ticket, make sure you note the time detailed on it. COVID restrictions mean it will take a little longer than usual to get everyone seated, so please ensure you turn up at the right time. Once you get to the stadium, there are a few changes you need to be aware of. First up, unless you have a medical or other valid exemption, 3-layer reusable or medical grade disposable face masks must be worn at all times within the grounds and the stadium. Seating will be a little different than what you're used to. We all know how great it is to enjoy a game together, but it's critical that you sit in the right seat. So, even if you're travelling with a group, although we'll sit you in the same block, social distancing guidelines apply, so everyone will be sat as singles. That's likely to mean 3 seats either side of you. Just enjoy the rare chance to stretch out. After the final whistle, it's really important that you stay in your seats. We're all responsible for each other, and we want to ensure you and everyone around you is as safe as possible. We promise we'll make it as smooth as we can. The steward will let you know when it's possible to depart. As you leave, make sure that you exit from the aisle nearest to you. And when you're on the move, remember to always stay 2 meters apart from the nearest person. If in doubt, stretch your arm out. If you're halfway towards touching the person in front of you, you need to drop back a little. Thank you. That's it. All you have to do now is enjoy the game. And of course, roar for the Lions.
It is great to be back at live rugby with fans at this momentous occasion at Murrayfield for the Vodafone Lions 1888 Cup. The Lions facing Japan, but just to remind you all of those messages, they are important to keep everyone safe. Wear your face masks at all times around the stadium. Please use hand sanitizers available throughout the day and wash your hands regularly. Please practice good hygiene, observe respiratory etiquette. 2 meter social distancing must be observed at all times. And if you're seated, then when moving past other spectators to and from your seat, please avoid face-to-face contact. But Simon, you want to introduce a very special guest now.
A very special guest. I talked about old lions prowling around Murrayfield.
Old? Old?
Well, he's not that old. He'll kick me for that one. But one of my favourites, Scott Quinnell. SQ, so good to see you back here at Murrayfield. There's a lot of talk about the friendships. Oh, you got a round of applause there. Bring your family.
It must be my family, I think.
There's a lot of talk, of course, at these times about the friendships and the bonds that the Lions make. One of the quotes I saw was, "It's weird when you have to make friends of your enemies." Does that make them stronger friends, though, ultimately?
Absolutely. It's a wonderful tradition. It's a wonderful place to be. Of course, in Edinburgh today, the Lions are here, and when we tour normally, when we're allowed to go away, I'll never forget Brisbane. The first test, 2001. It wasn't a test. It was the Friday before. and there were 35,000 Great British and Irish fans descended on Brisbane that day, and it was incredible. And it doesn't matter where you were from in Great Britain and Ireland, we all came together, we came together as one. And as fans do, they come together and enjoy that moment, they enjoy the 6, 7, 8 weeks that Lions bring you. It's exactly the same playing-wise. You beat each other up for 4 years just to try to get in that jersey. And then when you get that jersey for the first time, it was in Weybridge in 1997. I picked that kit up for the first time. I looked at that badge, I looked at that Lions badge, and you know, it brings a tear to your eye, the fact that you work so hard, and you never grow up thinking you want to play for the Lions, because it's almost a mythical beast. It's one of those that you get that, you know, it's almost the dragon, you know, it's one of those things that you don't dream of because it's such a long way away. I dreamt for playing for Llanelli, I dreamt for playing for Wales, and then when you're lucky enough to do that and these tours come around once every 4 years and you get to come together, oh, there is no better place to be.
You mentioned 97, and of course that's been looked at a lot recently because it's a tour to South Africa. A bittersweet tour for you though. What are your outstanding memories of it, good and bad, I guess?
The outstanding memory was, again, meeting each other in Weybridge, you know, training together, having a few beers as we did back in the day. I'm sure they did. I've read the boys have had a few beers over in Jersey last week. The bonding session, which is so important to come together and understand each other, not only on the field where you want to beat each other up, but off the field where you want to have, you know, well, in COVID-safe times, obviously wash your hands, put a mask on, and have a coach. You know, it's one of those things that you
have a coach. Go on.
A hug, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Oh, sorry, that's a bit of a Welsh word.
Obviously,
sorry,
yeah, I'm piggy in the middle here.
Hey, it's what everybody else has dreamt of that's not in a COVID bubble for the last 18 months. And so when you come together like that, it's so special to make new friends, you know. Hilda was on that tour, Richard Hill, you know, and you have a look at Tim Robber was on that tour, although we were opposite and we were going for number 8, you know, we had a huge respect for each other, and we were able to sit down and have a beer. We've been long-time friends, you know, and that's what it's about. And the hardest decision I ever had to make about rugby was going to tell Saeed McGeechan I wasn't fit enough to continue. 5 weeks into the tour, I had a double hernia, I was struggling, couldn't walk across the street, definitely couldn't bring anything to the team, and if the team were going to win, then they needed fit people out there. The hardest decision with James Robson, the wonderful Scottish medical year doctor, I had to go knock. He held my hand when I knocked the door and said, I can't do it anymore. But I watched that test series from a caravan down in West Wales, right? And it was a lovely caravan. It had beer and it had Sky. It had lovely. It was a lovely caravan, right? But it was bittersweet when Jerry Guscott kicked that drop goal, and I jumped up. There was beer all over the curtains and everything, and it was absolutely fantastic to be a part of that tour, but not to be there when the test matches were played. It was a heartbreaking moment, but a special moment to know you've been involved with something that was so incredible.
Well, terrific memories. I mean, whether you're Welsh, Irish, Scottish or English, memories like that just stick, right?
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll have more memories today, Scott. That's all we've got time for with you.
That's
brilliant.
It.
Sorry.
We're not kicking off for another 50 minutes. We've got loads of stories.
I know. But it's time for some entertainment. Not that you're not entertaining, but some musical entertainment. So we're going to go back to the bands, and I think we've got Mugen Taiko.
Been thinking about you lately. You've been on my mind, yeah. Do you think about me, baby? Maybe once or twice. Tell me who's got your love tonight? Your love tonight. 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 Who's got your love tonight? Got your love tonight. Who's got your love tonight? Got your love tonight. I've been thinking about you lately. You've been on my mind, yeah. Do you think about me, baby? Maybe once or twice. Tell me, do you ever think about hitting up my phone some night? Just to talk one more
Everyone here in Edinburgh, welcome Japan.
I'm hugely excited to be involved in this tour. It's going to be great. The build-up already is, the feeling is unreal, so really looking forward to it.
Absolutely buzzing. I can't wait to get going properly. I'm really looking forward to the next couple of weeks together. I'm over the moon to be selected. It's a great honour and a huge opportunity for me, one that I'm just going to grab by the horns and see where I end up in a couple of months.
There's such a wide variety of talent around. Just to play with guys from different countries, it's so unique. Yeah, I think just in general, the fact that we get to play with players we regularly play against is so special. So looking forward to playing with everyone.
As a back three player, you know, someone who I haven't played with that is quite exciting players. Someone like Stuart Hogg, very good counter-attacker, and could potentially pick up some easy tries off the back of his footwork. Japan, brilliant side. We obviously played them in the World Cup for Scotland, and they really showed up. So they've got some exciting players. They're physical defensively, and they've got some real threats in attack as well. So they're not a side that you can take lightly. And they played some unbelievable stuff in 2019 in the World Cup. So a fast game, I'm sure, and an exciting game as well. Yeah, it'll be a huge honour to one, pull on the jersey for the first time, and secondly to pull on the jersey at Murrayfield will be the icing on the cake.
Yeah, it'll be an incredible feeling. I think the fact that we're playing a country is so special, and in front of supporters as well. It'll be a great feeling.
Haven't played in front of any sort of crowd for a while, so to be able to play up in Edinburgh would be fantastic, and it'll be brilliant to play in front of fans as well, and I'm sure we'll have some fantastic support there.
Olafia, here comes Monye! Monye's away! Knockway's quick, but I don't think he's that quick. Monye for the post, he's punching the air!
It's the most special club to be a part of. It's the most exclusive club to be a part of. And the history, the players, everything it stands for. Rugby kind of straddles two different spheres. You've got the professional element of it, and then you've got some great amateur fundamental ethos. And I think the British and Irish Lions does an incredible job of twinning the two and running them in parallel. To be a part of a team which is far bigger in a sense of its higher purpose. It unites the very best of Britain and Ireland. I'm not just talking players, I'm talking coaches, fans, and everything alike. So to be a part of that history is something I'll never forget. So historically, players had found out through letters and phone calls. That didn't happen to me. It was announced on Sky Sports, and we were finding out in the same way the rest of the world were finding out. And then they said my name, and I was really torn with it, actually, if I was to be perfectly honest. I mean, of course, I was ecstatic and everything on the inside wanted to celebrate, and of course I was thrilled to bits, you know. It's a lifelong dream. Rang my mum, first person I rang, and she was just crying down the phone, like, and that was amazing. I was so emotionally drained from hearing that I was going to go on that tour and be part of the most special and the most exclusive rugby club in the history of rugby. But at the same time, well, if you're selected, that's a massive vote of confidence, and I didn't want to be a spectator on the tour. Well, I knew there was a lot of players on there who I looked up to. So the tour that I was on was the last of the legends of that last decade. O'Connell, O'Driscoll, O'Gara, your Martin Williams, your Adam Joneses, your Gethin Jenkins of this world, Simon Shaws. To be a part of that was amazing. So my mindset was to learn, to improve, to absorb, and to get better. And if I could fully apply myself, I'll give myself a shot. You know, I was going up against the world's best player at that time, Shane Williams. And I thought I'd kind of done everything that I could do to put myself in the best possible position to be able to be selected. I think whenever you play for the British and Irish Lions, the one thing it's important to do is actually just totally embrace the history. And it's unavoidable. The build up to it, being there, some of the people that come in and speak to you, like the Willie John McBrides and the Surrey and McGeekins, who was part of that tour and in the changing room above every station. So I wore number 11 that first test. It's got a list of the names of every single one of those legends, and you're looking at it and you're looking at history, but then you put the jersey on and you're stepping into history as well. So to be a Test Lion, that is the ultimate. You're playing against the world champions, the Tri-Nations champions on their home patch, and the worst feeling in the world is knowing that you probably should have won. Like, you know, you win and lose games. That's what elite rugby's about. That's what elite sport's about. But when you've not taken all your chances and opportunities and you haven't been yourself fully in the game, then that's a bitter pill to swallow. It really is. And I thought we prepped well. I thought our confidence was right. I thought we had the right game plan. We didn't take our chances. I didn't take my chances, you know, and that's what you're selected to do. So the third test for me was just an incredible day in itself, but also which provided the most special moment I've ever had on a rugby pitch and the most special of jerseys if you're British and Irish. I first picked up a rugby ball at age 13 and I fell in love with the game. I really did, and all I ever wanted to do was just have fun, and I guess that was probably a continual theme right throughout my career. You know, you want to play for your club, you want to play for your country, and then the moment you start achieving those things, the lines becomes really tangible. So when I look at that third test and the moment that I had in intercepting that ball from the 22 to the try line, it probably took, 6.5, 7 seconds. But for me to get to that point, to have that moment, it took me 13 years. Just raw emotion, like I was not in control of my body. I know I stuck my arms up in the air, and none of it's pre-planned. It was just how I felt. It was the greatest release. It wasn't just celebration. It felt like redemption at the same time. So I remember scoring that intercept and looking up, and honestly, it felt like you were playing in a home match. There was red jerseys everywhere, you know. So as much as we did it to put pride in the jersey and to do it for one another and as an appreciation for our efforts, the most important people in rugby are the fans, and the Lions have got the best fans in the world.
Ugomonia memories there from South Africa in 2009. Just look at this, Murrayfield with fans for the British and Irish Lions. And there they are, seeing a pint off, enjoying themselves, and joining us in the studio now, two guys who enjoyed themselves on that Lions tour in 2009. Lee Mears, Simon Shaw, both Lions, multi-Lions tours. 2009, Lee, was your one tour, but what a tour that was. Fond memories, even though maybe at the end you didn't get the outcome that tour and the performances deserved.
Oh, for me, it was amazing, and sort of set me up for life afterwards as well, in terms of bringing everyone together. 2005 was tough. And that, for me, having spoken to quite a few of the boys on both tours, they spoke about how we brought the friendship back and the camaraderie and went away from being total professional rugby players to actually become friends first. So it was an amazing experience speaking to the boys, even to this day, 12 years on.
Yeah, I'm sure you might have seen a few of them last night, you know, and too many beers over too many memories, you know, what it's like. Simon, what was that, your final and third tour? You started in South Africa and finished in South Africa. How tough is it to tour there?
Oh, it's incredibly tough. Not quite as tough as it was to get from the West Stand to the North Stand, having walked on the MND, so Doddie's Foundation walk yesterday, 50 kilometres. So, to be honest, the Lions tour was a breeze compared to yesterday's walking. But no, one of the toughest tours you could ever go on. You know, especially up front against the might of the Springbok pack. Always incredibly tough, but on a Lions tour there's an extra bit to play for, so they raise their game. You have to raise your game twofold.
South Africa is the touring nation that we're going to go to, but today it's Japan. No walkover. The World Cup quarter-finalists, they beat South Africa in the World Cup. You know, they're great pedigree under Joseph.
I mean, just even after the Eddie Jones legacy, the way they've been playing the last 3-4 years, and then they move on from him, Jamie Joseph, Tony Brown. I'm really, really excited because, as you know, with the Lions, you sort of ease in with a few midweek games. This is a full-on international, and I'm really, the pedigree is going to be awesome.
Japan's not really played rugby for, what is it, Simon, 20 months? I think they
yeah, since they're
going to be
final.
Yeah, that's right. They're going to be pretty cold out there as well. You know, it's good for them to get back. What are you expecting from Japan today, Simon?
You wouldn't expect anything less than an extraordinary performance, because this is an opportunity of a lifetime for a lot of these players. They've taken 3 big scalps in the World Cup. Some of the players were on the back end of those, so some of the Lions players, so they've got a bit of payback to come. But it's going to be a fantastic game. The Lions will be running it wild, as they always do. So it's a tough start for the Lions.
Fans back at Murrayfield, fans back at rugby. 16,000 fans here today. That's great for rugby, great for everybody.
I mean, if the city just walking around, the red shirts, the buzz, I think it's what we've been waiting for so long, and it's so nice to have everybody here and welcoming the Lions to Murrayfield as well, because this doesn't happen.
No, I know, the Lions playing at home soil. You played on home soil no, you didn't play in 2005 in Cardiff, you know, so it's a new experience for many today. But we'll have to look now back in time to the last Lions tour. Do you remember where we went? New Zealand, and we had some drama.
Umpteen times, what do you think about the schedule, how tough it's going to be? I'm laughing inside back of them, because I'm thinking that's why they'd never ever be able to be in this room where we are now.
You leave us in international, you come back as a Lion.
Oh, that's nice from Sanchez. Go, Benny.
So set piece has to be strong. Keep being accurate. When we get down there, we'll take our chances and we'll squeeze them, all right? Don't think it gets much bigger than this.
Williams could step and leaves up to Paul.
It's not open surface here. It's open surface. It's in here, boys. It's in here.
I believe tomorrow they become the best team in the world.
The boys have been absolutely outstanding so far, and the first week was a tough week, and now we're into the test match week, and the focus has gone on playing Japan and how important that is that we get the tour off to a good start. I mean, they're going to be a tough opposition. They've already had a warm-up game, and quarter-finalists in the World Cup, had a great World Cup, so it's a real challenge for us. And I mean, for some of the Irish players and Scottish players that were beaten by Japan in the World Cup, it's kind of an opportunity for them to get one back on Japan, but also the most important thing is that we start the tour on the right foot, and we set out our stall by having a good performance so that we can keep building on that. The whole squad, they will get an opportunity in the first 3 games. We've kind of said to the players that everyone will start in one of the first 3 games, and so for this group of players, it's their chance to put their hands up first, and they've got the responsibility to go out there and perform well and to wear that jersey with pride. The engagement we've had on social media has been absolutely outstanding, and I don't think people can appreciate how important that is to the players, knowing that there's so many fans out there following the Lions platform and posting on things. That means a heck of a lot to the players, knowing just the huge amount of interest that's in this Lions tour, and it's going to be completely different, and it feels a little bit strange going on a Lions tour without that sort of sea of red following us around, which you get sort of so used to, and it makes a massive difference. But we know we're getting so much support back in the UK and Ireland. It's a brilliant opportunity that we get to play in Edinburgh, and even though it's not going to be a full house, I think 16,500 fans is going to be brilliant for the players. They aren't used to it. We've had a couple of open sessions here in Jersey where we've had fans around the ground, and that's kind of been a little bit different, and hearing the fans cheering and yelling for the players. So I think they're all really looking forward to the fact that we're going to get fans back into Murrayfield, which is going to be absolutely brilliant. And for those fans, it's a chance to see the Lions play at home, and that doesn't come around too often. So it's a little bit different. So having a warm-up game in the UK before we travel, I think is it's something that's unique for the fans and the supporters and everyone. And like I said to you, it's a great chance for us to get a good start and to get things off on the right foot.
Well, these big game players just keep arriving in our studio. It's great, isn't it? And I'm joined now by our famous grouse ambassadors, Shane Williams, Jim Hamilton. Gentlemen, good afternoon. Yeah, a round of applause as well. Jim, anybody would think you were a local. Walking around the stadium, I mean, this is so good to see, isn't it? The stadium back alive with the fans back in, Jim.
Yeah, it's absolutely class. It's obviously been a long time coming. We've been locked at home for the last 18 months. I know there's been small events going on now and again with fans, but rugby sport's not the same without the people in the stadiums. It's what makes sport. So it's absolutely amazing to see people back here at BT Murrayfield, obviously supporting a different team, but nonetheless a team that has got a Scottish contingent with the British and Irish Lions, and welcoming what is a fantastic team in this Japanese side as well.
Yeah. Shane, you've had the experience of playing in Japan. You know what the culture is about. As Jim said, we saw them in the World Cup. I'm sorry to upset the Celts, but they beat the Scots, they beat the Irish. They've done it in previous World Cups as well. Just how good are this Japanese team right now under Jamie Joseph, though?
Yeah, look, they are a good side. They're probably one of the most consistent sides in world rugby. They've definitely improved more than any other national team. What they do is work hard. They work ethic, they work together, they put the shift in, they put the effort and the hours in, and it's all coming to fruition now. They've been fantastic in the World Cup. The World Cup itself was amazing, and all of a sudden they got a team now that can beat the so-called bigger teams. They play really hard for each other. They're a joy to watch, and I think this will be a real test for the British and Irish Lions today.
It is a Lions match, and we want to talk about the Lions, but I want to talk about whiskey as well. What about Famous Grouse? Why didn't you bring me a bottle, Jim?
Yeah, well, for me, the Famous Grouse has been synonymous with rugby, with Scotland rugby for years. I mean, when I made my debut for Scotland, I was the 1,000th man to play for Scotland, and I remember getting home and the Famous Grouse had a custom-made bottle saying the famous Jim Hamilton. Not that I was that famous at the time, or that I'm that famous now, but their association, the relationship with rugby, the spirit of rugby, which is their tagline and their motto, kind of go hand in hand. Me and Shane were talking about it. it's been a kind of seamless couple of days really working with this guy, and the spirit of rugby kind of embodies what we now have back. And I mentioned it before, having people in the stadium here today to watch a rugby match again.
Yeah, they were on the Scottish jersey, Famous Grouse, for a while, weren't they? I think they were.
Yeah, no, exactly right. Yeah, I mean, the relationship's been long-standing. Obviously, the deal with the Premiership as well, and you know, to have that kind of history behind them and their history in the game of rugby, it's great. You know, for me personally, having not been a British and Irish line, my uncle Hamish said arguably I could have been if it was the 70s. You know, so for me to be a part.
How close were you, Jim? I will ask you. How close did you think did you?
Well, if you ask me off air, I'll say that I should have went. If I put it on here, many people in this stadium would have watched me play rugby and said that I was a million miles away. So, nonetheless, for me personally, it's great personally to have an association with the Famous Grouse and then be a part of their rugby activation as well over the tour.
Yeah, Shane, being a Welshman, like a drink or two, I presume. Famous Grouse, one of your favourites?
It is, I can tell you it is. I've been with him the last couple of days.
Of course, Famous Grouse is my favourite. No, like it's been an absolute pleasure to have worked with them the last couple of days and be an ambassador. We had an event yesterday, and it was nice to see the crowds coming back and being involved in exactly what the spirit of rugby is, and that is getting the fans together from all the 4 nations, having a Famous Grouse ginger together, enjoying the experience, and then coming to watch an international rugby match. British and Irish Lions, you know, it's some of the best experiences of my life were on these tours. And to be here today, now to see a crowd here at Murrayfield is fantastic, so can't wait for it all to begin.
Shane, we know this tour is going to be different for obvious reasons. How important, though, is it for these British and Irish Lions to actually get a performance, a result maybe, out of this match to send them to South Africa in the right vein?
It's massively important for the players and themselves and Gatland to have a big performance today. You know, they're going to play the world champions in their backyard against some of the best players that play the game. And I think, to play well today, to get a result and get the ball rolling for the players, more importantly, is really important. And before you know it, we'll be at the test will be here, and we still don't know what team that's going to be. So consistent performance will get in that squad.
Well, let's hope that's what we see this afternoon. Our Famous Grouse ambassadors, Shane Williams and Jim Hamilton. Thanks, gents. We'll see more of you later on.
There are a few guidelines for you to follow to make sure you and everyone else can make the most of the day. Here goes. The use of lateral floor tests in the few days prior to the match is recommended, and they're readily available to order from the government website. Just type "free lateral floor test" into your favourite search engine. Of course, if you test positive, feel the symptoms, or have had any contact with anyone that either has the virus or is quarantining after return from foreign travel, then you must not attend the event. That's about taking one for the team. Remember, you can still watch from home. When you're getting ready to come to the game, remind yourself that no bags are allowed in the stadium, so only bring what you can comfortably carry on your person. The most important thing to bring is your ticket. Make sure you either print it at home or have it on your mobile phone. Whilst you're checking your ticket, make sure you note the time detailed on it. COVID restrictions mean it will take a little longer than usual to get everyone seated, so please ensure you turn up at the right time. Once you get to the stadium, there are a few changes you need to be aware of. First up, unless you have a medical or other valid exemption, 3-layer reusable or medical grade disposable face masks must be worn at all times within the grounds and the stadium. Seating will be a little different than what you're used to. We all know how great it is to enjoy a game together, but it's critical that you sit in the right seat. So, even if you're travelling with a group, although we'll sit you in the same block, social distancing guidelines apply, so everyone will be sat as singles. That's likely to mean 3 seats either side of you. just enjoyed the rare chance to stretch out. After the final whistle, it's really important that you stay in your seats. We're all responsible for each other, and we want to ensure you and everyone around you is as safe as possible. We promise we'll make it as smooth as we can. The steward will let you know when it's possible to depart. As you leave, make sure that you exit from the aisle nearest to you. And when you're on the move, remember to always stay 2 meters apart from the nearest person. If in doubt, stretch your arm out. If you're halfway towards touching the person in front of you, you need to drop back a little. Thank you. That's it. All you have to do now is enjoy the game. And of course, roar for the Lions.
Yeah, just to reiterate what was shown in that VT for you there, please wear your face masks at all times around the stadium unless consuming food or drink. Please use hand sanitizers available throughout the day and wash your hands regularly. 2 meter social distancing must be observed at all times. And if you are seated when moving past other spectators to and from your seat, please avoid face-to-face contact with other spectators. Singing, shouting and close contact can increase the risk of COVID transmission. We remind all spectators to be considerate to those around them and remember hands, face, space. The final whistle, please remain in your seat until directed to leave by your steward. And a little message for those of you looking to buy a Chase G&T but weren't able to, I believe that is back up and running again on the app. And now let's have a word from our partners.
The fate to go.
Yes, it's like right shoulder.
Potential scoring opportunity for Anthony Watson. The Lions have it, and this might be an opportunity.
I never
This summer, you're not just connected to the Lions. With Vodafone, they're right here with you. Connected, united, unlimited.
So the teams have had their final preparations. We've got 10 minutes to go until kickoff. It's time to look at the team lists, starting with our visitors, Japan. Wearing 1, Keita Inagaki. At 2, Atsushi Sokate. At 3, Guanggu. Wearing 4, Wimpy van der Walt. At 5, James Moore. At 6, the captain, Michael Leach. Wearing 7, it's Peter Labashani. Wearing 8, Amanaki Mafi. At 9, Keito Shigeno. Wearing 10, Yu Tamoda. Wearing 11, Siosaya Fifita. At 12, Rialto Nakamura. At 13, Timothy Lafael. At 14, Kotaro Matsushima. And fullback number 15, Ryohei Yamanaka. On the bench for the Brave Blossoms this afternoon, 16, Kosuke Horikoshi. 17, Craig Miller. 18, Aseli Evalu. 19, Jack Cornelson. 20, Kazuki Himeno. 21, Tavita Tatafu. 22, Naoto Saito. And number 23, Rukia Matsuda.
And now it's a chance to take a look at the British and Irish Lions. Number 1, Rory Sutherland. Number 2, Ken Owens. Number 3, Tyg Furlong. Number 4, Ian Henderson. Number 5, and Lions captain, Alan Wynne-Jones. Number 6, Tyg Byrne. Number 7, Justin Tiprick. Number 8, Jack Conan. Number 9, Connor Murray. Number 10, Dan Bigger. Number 11, Duan van der Merwe. Number 12, Bundeaki. Number 13, Robbie Henshaw. Number 14, Josh Adams. And number 15, Liam Williams. And the Lions replacements. Number 16, Jamie George. Number 17, Wyn Jones. Number 18, Kyle Sinclair. Number 19, Courtney Laws. Number 20, Talupe Falatau. Number 21, Ali Price. Number 22, Owen Farrell. And number 23, Anthony Watson. There we have the British and Irish Lions.
Our match officials this afternoon, all from France. Refereeing his last test match, Pascal Gauzer will be on the whistle. His assistants, Romain Poit and Pierre Brousset. And the television match official, Eric Gauzin. Just a few moments to go until the teams will be ready to enter. Are you ready for the Vodafone Lions 1888 Cup?
Oh, we can't hear you. We can't hear you, Murrayfield. Let's hear it for the Lions. Lions! Lions! please give a warm Murrayfield welcome to Japan. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now pause for a message on behalf of the Lions. The Lions tour to bring people together. Our foundations are built on breaking down barriers and forging friendships. We reject all forms of discrimination. The Lions are for all.
Gentlemen, please be upstanding for the national anthem of Japan.